I was gonna go over the progression stats for tier 11 and just kind of like talk about it. I think that some people on YouTube might like to see this as well, so I probably repost it and stuff like that. So if you guys are watching this and you want to follow on Twitch, check us out there. But basically, kind of where we're at right now. So we have killed. We actually started with Conclave, which is really weird because apparently this is one of the harder ones. But just keeping in mind that as far as like 10-player heroic is concerned, people probably progress in like different ways. So it's like. For example, we started with Conclave just because we had extra time after clearing BWD, and then going through like Bastion of Twilight. We were like, well, for here, we might as well do it, you know? So that's kind of what we were thinking. But like other people might be starting with Magma, since it's like that's considered to be one of the easier ones, or it seems like most people are doing Halphus. So we're a little bit ahead of the curve, it seems like, but for the most part, we want to look to get Thuralian, Maloriak, and Chimerion down this week. So we're probably going to look at Cho'Gall, I think, next. I think that Alakir is a little bit higher. I think maybe it's just because if we have time, we might go for him. It kind of sucks because it's like after we get Thuralian, Maloriak, and Chimeron down, like everything else is just considered to be hard. You know, like once we have everything else down, it's like everything else just kind of is difficult. So we'll have to see where we go from there. As far as 25 man is concerned, it does seem like it's pretty much the same thing. Some of the bosses are like swapped around, so it seems like people go for like Atromedes instead of Magma first. Omnitron. I think Omnitron is so much easier than it appears. Like when you look at this, you think Omnitron is harder than the other ones. I think this one was easier than Magma, at least for the strat that we chose. Apparently, we did it on hard mode, Katie, because apparently the way that like most guilds are doing it is they just have everybody stack in melee, and then they just have a few ranged run around the outside. And that was something I mentioned in my video, but it's like we haven't tried it yet. We're definitely gonna try that this week and just see if it's a little bit easier, because it would be so much easier just having like an Ellie Shaman, a Hunter, and like a Disc Priest doing it than having the entire raid do it. And the funniest part was that we were literally range stacked at that time. We had one melee and it was burnt, so it's just like we just have everybody in range doing this dance when they don't need to. So definitely an optimization that we're gonna make for this week. As far as Armatron, Chimeron, I'm not worried about him. He seems kind of like mostly like a healer fight. I think our healers are Chads, so we'll probably get away with it. Maloriak seems easier than I expected. I thought that he was one of the harder ones, but it seems like a lot of people are being able to do him. I also watched a video on him too, and it didn't look like there was that much going on. They kind of just saved Lust for 25% and ignore the whole second phase. There's a bunch of ads out. The tank just picked him up, and they just nuked the boss before they even mattered. So we'll see how that goes. Alakir, I hear there's a lot of RNG, but it is kind of promising to see that there's more kills on Alakir than like Cho'Gall or Ascendant Council. Maybe it's just because, like, again, because of the raids and the way that they're structured. But we'll have to give that a look. Oh, over here in 25 man, it looks like Cho'Gall actually has more kills. The numbers here, though, I mean, like they're probably pretty minuscule at this point. 10-player normal. Pulls versus kills. So Neff is the hardest in this. It looks like, as expected. The Neff fight, it feels like it could almost be like a mid-tier between like normal and heroic on normal. I'm actually surprised that we got it down in that pug that I had in my warrior tanking video. But it's just, you kind of need to understand the fight. A lot of people try to cheese it too. I think that's the other thing, is that it feels like there's a lot of tendencies from like past expansions to just like cheese things to make it easier. Everyone wants to nuke down Oni instead of just getting a little bit of damage onto Neff right away, right? The fight's not hard as long as you just don't get hit by the Oni stuff. Like you just turn her and you're like normally pretty okay. Chimeron is actually the second hardest in 25 man normal. That is interesting. Oh, he is tier 2. I guess it's just the mechanic, the healer mechanic. People really struggle with it. Maybe a guide will be helpful for that when we do get it down. So. Yeah, I don't think Chimeron's hard at all. But we'll have to see when we get there. Heroic 10-player pulls versus kills. Nefarian, obviously, crazy amount of pulls. Senate Council, Alakir, Sinestra, Conclave. So I think that this is actually a better example of like what to expect than like the heroic kills per boss, right? Because this is just like the people who have killed it, whereas like this is the attempts that they're actually putting into it, you know? So like for something like Conclave, actually it has a lot of attempts. That's interesting. I figured it would just be because these guys are like, they're in just a separate raid from everything else and people are looking to progress on other stuff. But, and that's funny too. So you see Halphus actually has more attempts, but like he has more kills. So like people attempt Halfist and they take longer to kill him. When in reality, these bosses are probably easier, but more people have killed Halfist probably because they haven't tried these guys. You know, they like, just don't think that they can do it, or maybe they don't want to. Dude, Maloriak has the least amount of pulls. That is actually crazy. I never would have thought that actually. And Cho'Gall, holy shit, dude, look at this. Cho'Gall pulls versus kills. If I'm reading this right, it looks like Cho'Gall, like people pull it maybe like 12 times on average and they kill it. If I'm reading that right. So I'm recording this a post because I DC'd. But basically, with Cho'Gall having a low amount of pulls per kill, that kind of signifies that maybe this is one of the easier ones for guilds to get by. Now that could be skewed. For example, maybe the early guilds that were getting to it, like the sweaty ones who are like really good at the game, they're gonna be pulling Cho'Gall a lot less. They probably kill him in 2 or 3 pulls. Whereas like people haven't really gone into it yet, so like maybe it's skewed. People aren't really attempting Cho'Gall very much right now. That could be possible, but it also could be possible that Cho'Gall's just easier than people expect, right? When you go into it, maybe it only takes just like a little bit of getting used to the fight, getting used to the mechanics, and kind of like learning how to pump. Right here, it looks like Cho'Gall isn't super high on 25-man either. So I think that this is definitely one of the first end bosses that at least we're going to shoot for. Maybe other people want to look into that too. I haven't done it myself, so don't take that for heart. But definitely do your own research, figure out what you think is best for your guild, and kind of go off of that. We're kind of getting to the point where we're pretty much on end bosses. So yeah, I'm super excited for this week, honestly. So yeah, there's the stats for it. If people are looking for 25, I'll definitely link this in the description if we do end up cropping this into a video with all the DCs and stuff. We'll see how that works out, but maybe I'll record some stuff in post or just re-record it afterwards. But yeah, no, this is sick. I want to do more stuff like this on stream, so definitely if you have any ideas, guys, feel free to shoot them my way and I'll take a look at stuff. During the first week, 10,892 10-man hero kills logged. Yeah, we only did 1 during the first week too, so that's the other thing, is that like as the weeks go on, more and more of these things will happen just because more people will attempt them. I think a lot of people are taking it easy. They're just progressing at their own pace rather than pushing themselves. So let's get back to leveling. I'll get my weak aura up. I got DC'd here.